Hello and welcome to the United Stand. The first time 24 hours off in ages because of the international break. Nothing happening yesterday, nothing to discuss. But today it's different already. There are some big stories. Cantona, quite damning of Mourinho in the Mail on Sunday. Quotes from his mouth. And starting off, obviously Luke Shaw. Hopefully he's going to be okay. Bad head collision last night for England, but he's tweeted himself and the reports are that he's okay. So hopefully... You got to be careful with head injuries. Maybe he won't play against Watford, but hopefully it won't be a long-term thing. I heard a few people saying we need him to play against Watford, but if it's a head injury, he might not be able to play against Watford. The worry would be Ashley Young comes back in and keeps his place. We don't want to see that. Luke Shaw's been fantastic. But let's start off with the headline that Zidane has transfer plans for Manchester United. Now, I saw it in the Daily Mirror. And effectively, it's going down the lines that Zidane has told friends. He's got a lot of friends because he talks to a lot of friends. We've heard this before about Zidane. And when he becomes Manchester United manager, his 4 transfer targets are Thiago Alcantara from Bayern Munich, James Rodriguez from Bayern Munich, Toni Kroos from Real Madrid, and if anyone's seen me on Twitter, effing Cavani. Look. First of all, I would say this is quite funny. I suppose it's quite reminiscent of when Van Gaal was Manchester United manager, and for those last 6 months, 4 months, wasn't it? Because Mourinho got sacked in December, and then it was 4 months and 5 months until Van Gaal got sacked. Mourinho was always linked to us, and these sort of stories did happen. I've got to be honest. It's what I thought about this morning. Mourinho wants to bring these players to United if he gets the United job, and they end up getting the United job. So you can't say never. You can never say never, but the reality is Manchester United haven't got any intention of sacking Jose Mourinho at the moment. Manchester United manager is Jose Mourinho. There's a lot of fans, myself included, who want to give him that time this season. And the board certainly feel the same. And Mourinho himself said, they can't afford to sack me. So Zidane's free. The press will love to link Zidane to Manchester United. But I don't see it anything to be concerned about at the moment. It can happen. Of course it can happen. But right now... the rumblings around the club are not big enough for Mourinho to go, and he will go. I will be playing Mourinho on my FIFA stream at 1 o'clock on my channel, yes, for anybody who's interested in that. Dollar mercy. So, look, Zidane as Manchester United would be an interesting proposition, and I'm sure it would excite some people. It would probably excite Eric Cantona, which we'll come to in a moment, who's been very blunt about Mourinho. And again, we can all moan about what Pogba's said. Cantona's a United legend. He's got every right to say what he wants to say, but on this, I don't agree with him. But we'll talk about that in a moment. Who, in relation to the 4 targets that Zidane would have, well, James Rodriguez is a player he got rid of. So why would he want him at Manchester United? He got rid of him at Real Madrid to Bayern. So I smell a bit of BS there. Toni Kroos is just an obvious one because he was his midfield maestro at Real Madrid. Thiago is a weird one. And I think Thiago is just because he's free. And Cavani, I mean, for me, Cavani, as I said on Twitter, is just the Uruguayan Patrick Bamford. He's playing in a pub league. I know he scored a couple of goals in the World Cup. I know Cavani divides opinion, but I've always been very consistent about Cavani. I do not really want him at Manchester United. I've never wanted him at Manchester United. I think he is a decent striker in fairness, but I think he would be awful in the Premier League. I don't think he's got the attributes for the Premier League at all. He's not particularly quick. He suits pub leagues like France, slow leagues like Italy. That's where Cavani gets his goals. I think in the fast-paced Premier League, it wouldn't suit him. So I don't want him at Manchester United at all. One Love MUFC. Opinions on DT exposing you, Mark. Look, you know what about DT? I've already told him. He needs a sat-nav when we play them. And people said, oh, sat-navs aren't about speed. What do you need a sat-nav for? You need a sat-nav for directions. He's going to need directions to find me on a football pitch because I'll be streets ahead of him. That's the sat-nav thing. And he said it didn't even work. He's thick. And that's all I've got to say. And the rest of it, I'll sort it on a football pitch. Apparently he's going to take me out like Roy Keane. I mean, he has to use United legends to try and take me out for a start. But reality is, enough talk. We're playing each other at the end of next month. United Stand versus Arsenal Fan TV. I'll play 90 minutes. That's the challenge. How many minutes is he going to do before he's blowing out his arse? But I'll do my talking on the pitch. Don't need to start getting into silly personal life stuff. There's loads of stuff I could say about him. Not going to do it. We're going to play football. That's what it's all about. We've spoken about Luke Shaw injury. Let's talk about the Eric Cantona thing. This is really interesting. So I only saw this before I came live. And I want to take your comments about Zidane. But who is DT? Exactly. It's irrelevant. Manchester United legend Eric Cantona has said that he would He likes Jose Mourinho, but not for Manchester United. He's not exciting. It's not the right style of play. Pep Guardiola should be the manager of Manchester United because of his style of play. Unfortunately, he's doing it for that team that he won't name. And Cantona said if I was asked, I'd come and do it. And I'd get them playing creative, exciting football. Cantona is right, says Smooth Gaming. I think Cantona is right to a certain extent, but also it's the timing yet again. These international breaks are a nightmare. I mean, I've never been so bored yesterday. We couldn't even do a show last night. There was nothing to talk about. And you get a show every night on the United Stand. And it was like, I'm not going to just go live and talk about nonsense. There was nothing. Today, there is stuff to talk about. And we've got Sunday Night Live and Flex, and hopefully Sophie will be on as well. But the international break, they're clambering for stories. And I just think Cantona's got no look. I don't think Cantona's an ambassador for United. I said this a couple of weeks ago. Apparently, and again, it's from papers, so it might not be true, but all the United ambassadors, people like Brian Robson and that, have been told not to speak negative about United. Well, I would expect them not to do that anyway, because they're being paid by the club. But people like Cantona, Scholes, Neville, they're not ambassadors for the club. They're not employed by the club. So they've got every right to say what they want. I mean, Zed Jamie says would love Cantona as manager. So Cantona coming out and saying Guardiola should be the manager, Mourinho's not the right man for Manchester United, his style of play doesn't suit us. Look, I love Cantona, and that is Cantona, isn't it? He can say what he likes, and he's got this aura about him. But how does it help United, really? It doesn't. It doesn't. Basically, take away the joie de vivre. He is basically saying that our manager's crap and doesn't suit the club. That's what he's saying in a nice way, and I don't think we need that at the moment. Not hot on the heels of what Pogba's doing. So it's not helpful for Mourinho. We are 6 days away from Watford, and that's all that matters. People can, the press can talk, and I'm sure Mourinho would say the same thing. But Tejas says, well, Cantona's got every right to say he follows the club and he's not happy. But he is a bit more of an actor. Thiago is right. I mean, all the Eurosport stuff's funny, but does anyone really take Cantona seriously as a football pundit? We should do, because he's a legend of the game. But he's out there making a living doing some quite funny stuff as well, isn't he? So I'm not too fussed about what Cantona said. He's a United legend. I just don't agree with him saying that about Mourinho. I think we all have our concerns. We all have our concerns about Mourinho's style of play. But in the last couple of games, we've created a lot of chances. We've played on the front foot. Let's see what happens against Watford. I don't think it's the time to start picking on Mourinho and his style of play. I think most United fans, whether they're Mourinho in or out, do realise that we are in this sort of halfway house at the moment. We've checked in. We're waiting to see what the next part of the journey is going to be, because it could go back to what it was like last season, Sevilla, and we're all unhappy, or we could be seeing a change, hopefully, because of the coaching from Carrick and McKenna and Mourinho's willingness to allow that to happen. Watford's going to be an interesting game, and I just literally cannot wait for Watford. I really can't wait for that game next Saturday evening, because we've got to win it, and we've got to win it in the right way. But I think from the international break, Lukaku scoring again, positive. Rashford, I know he missed a couple of chances, but playing from the start, scoring a goal. These are the things that are positive about the international break, because I don't think Lukaku's sharp. I don't think Rashford's getting enough game time. He's certainly not going to play that much with a red card. So them lads getting game time. I mean, Lukaku's playing catch-up. Pogba's playing catch-up. Anybody who was in the latter stages of the World Cup, they are playing catch-up, touch-wise, sharpness-wise, and fitness-wise. So that is the positive of the international break. But I'd much rather they were playing in United shirts, getting their fitness right, because it's been terrible. I mean, I enjoyed the World Cup. I did enjoy the World Cup. But I tried to watch England last night, and I was like, I don't care what you're doing. I don't care about your qualifiers. I certainly don't care about your B-Tech, bloody whatever this Nations Cup is. I just don't care. And I think England are trying to make England relevant, but the reality is England are relevant, and international football is relevant to people who are hardcore international football followers. I'm just not. I'm in club mode now. I'm not interested in international football. Luke Shaw, a few people mentioning him. Well, he has tweeted out, and there was some positive news last night. Obviously, it's a head injury. If you think about rugby players, head injury, I think the guidance is that you've got to not do anything for a week. So that might put him out of the Watford game. The positive is that with Luke Shaw, it's not a footballing injury, is it? It's not a knee, it's not a foot, it's not a shin, it's not a broken leg, but it is a head injury, so it will have to be monitored. And I'd be very surprised if he plays against Watford. Having said that, it's nearly a week away, isn't it, between games? So hopefully he should be all right. He should be all right. Lingard has been cast in the new Bambi movie, says Frozen Turkey. Don't get it. You look like you haven't slept in a I had a heavy night last night, Saturday night. Wigfield. No, I wasn't doing anything like that. Rashford injured, says Connell. No, not as far as I know. Apparently Fred's been getting MJ's talking about the Brazilians. I saw some Liverpool fans picking on Fred because Fred started in the midfield last night for Brazil and Fabinho started at right back. But Fabinho hasn't been playing for Liverpool. So, look, Fred's a good player. Again, I think Fred playing for Brazil is really positive. Pereira didn't get on the pitch, which is a shame, but it would do him good training with the team. But Fred getting some game time for Brazil is good. I've got no concerns about Fred, I've got no concerns about Fred. I think he's going to be good. Mark, what's your opinion of Rashford's potential, says Michael Hubbard? I think he needs to play more games, mate. We've got good players, but we don't have a good manager, so we need Zidane, says J-Lo Razik. Yeah, I was talking about Zidane at the start. Apparently he's highlighted Cavani, Thiago, James Rodriguez and Toni Kroos as 4 signings he wants to make at Manchester United. I mean, then I personally think it's just a lazy article. I really do. As I said, Toni Kroos, well, everyone wants him. Thiago, because he's available. James Rodriguez he got rid of, so that doesn't make sense. And Cavani, everyone gets linked to Cavani. And the reality is, United need a centre back. So I don't think any manager would think I need a striker and 3 midfielders. I don't think that's what. I mean, James Rodriguez, I'd love him at United. I really do like him, but I don't think he'd be a Zidane target. I really don't. Fred will be good, says Paul. And Mark, United board won't back Zidane if he wants 29 plus players. Theo Hernandez says Notorious Nerd. I saw that the other day at the Atletico Madrid and French fullback. I don't see the point. We've got Luke Shaw. Any new manager's going to want 4 players. I just don't think it would be those 4 players. I don't think it would. Please do drop a like on the video. We haven't done a video since Friday night, so it's nice to be back. I must admit, I've missed you all. So please do drop a like a video, and I'll take a few comments from you. Alexandro says JJ Hendry. I like Alexandro. I really wanted him in the summer, but ultimately, should you spend £50 million on a left back when you've got a left back? I think what United need is an up-and-coming left back who sort of is there as a backup to Luke Shaw. Ashley Young's not going to be able to do that role for much longer. I like Dimitri Mitchell. Gone to Hearts. You never know long term. Ryan Giggs in, says Tejas. Not for me. The best defenders, Ramos and Varane, says Desiree Paul. I wouldn't agree with that. I did give my top 5 centre-backs in the world the other day. I did it on Twitter, at Mark Goldbridge. So Varane, Ramos, Godin, Jimenez and Smalling, my top 5. I was bantering with Chris Smalling, by the way. I think you'd probably have to put Italian in there, wouldn't you? Maybe Chiellini or Bonucci. I don't think the defensive quality in the Premier League is that good anymore. I mean, Liverpool fans talk about Van Dijk. He is good. He is good, Van Dijk, to be fair. But I'd say probably Vertonghen or Alderweireld are probably the best centre-backs in the Premier League. I don't rate anything Arsenal have got. I think Koscielny's overrated. City, John Stones is okay. Otamendi's got a mistake in him. Company's past it. Chelsea, not really. United, well, we know the problems with United. It's consistency, isn't it? I like Jimenez, Victor, I agree. No one in his prime would... What is that? No one in his prime would like to play for Man United. What is the point if you cannot win anything? Cheers, says Malgrazzata. Aspilicueta is amazing. Yeah, he's not bad, Dylan. I'd agree with that. And Jason says that Zidane was given a team with a style of play and world-class players in every position. He would do nothing to improve Manchester United. I disagree with that. I think that I've been very impressed. I've said this before, even when there was no prospect of Zidane coming to United. And I'm not even in the mindset to think who could replace Mourinho. I'm not there. But we did a show about it last season. And I said, went through a massive list. And I quite like Laurent Blanc. I know it's a bit left field, but when you look at what he's done, he won the title with Bordeaux, which was... pretty much a massive achievement. Did it in good football and using youth and signings. He's played for Barcelona. He's played for France. He's played for Manchester United. I think he's got a really good background. I'm surprised he's not got a job. But yeah, on Zidane, just very quickly, I can't lie. I think that the thing that always impressed me about Zidane, I remember that Champions League final against Juventus that they won. Juventus sort of dominated him in the first half. He changed it in the second half, and they deservedly won it. And I think Real Madrid at times, like any team, you can't win every game 3 or 4-0 dominating. Real Madrid have had games where they've been under the cosh, but he always makes the right subs and tactical changes. So yeah, obviously he's got great resources. But I think as a manager, he's not afraid to make changes. And also his midfield three, if you look at it, Modric, Casemiro, and Kroos, he could have a better, more high-profile midfield three. But what he went with was a midfield three that was balanced and the best midfield three in the world. And he sorted the defence out as well. So I think he's a good manager, Zidane. I wouldn't be opposed to him coming to United after and if Mourinho went, but. Giggs, I think it'll be too early for Giggs unless Mourinho stays for a couple of years. Anyhow, please do drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. We will be live at 8 o'clock tonight with Sunday Night Live. So we're back tonight in the studio. We'll have Flex. I think we'll have Sophie, but if we don't, we'll probably get someone else on. But yeah, that's it. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I know there's no bloody football, but at least next weekend we've got proper football back. And also, if you're scratching around for something to do, I'll be doing my Goldbridge live stream, Mourinho versus Goldbridge. I'm into March, so it's getting exciting. And I'll be doing that at 1 o'clock. So speak to you all soon. Thanks for watching. Smash the like. And thanks for watching. Missed you all. Speak to you soon. Yeah, Saturday night for United Watford, Hull Norwich. It's 5:30 UK time.